Hey guys, the wife's out of town. It's been raining all week. There's nothing really going on, and so I'm just sitting here getting drunk. So I thought it'd be a good time to do the video on the cost of what I paid for my project. I'm not really that excited about it because I don't think it's going to help you that much, because your costs are going to be determined by your geographical location. The availability of products or the lack thereof is ultimately going to determine what you're going to pay for them. And some of that will be design based and everything else. But I said I would do it, so I'll go ahead and do it and tell you the bulk of what I paid for the project. There's a lot of miscellaneous stuff which I'm not going to get into. I'll cover it quickly, but truth be told, I mean, I didn't really keep track of it all. So yeah, you can see just how fiscally responsible I am. Alright, so I took some footage today. Go have a look at that of the project and the rain, the problems that the rain has caused, and then we'll come back and I'll go over this cost stuff. Hey guys, the purpose of this video is to show you that everything is not always sunshine and roses, and you just got to roll with the punches, unfortunately. You see how clean that concrete slab is? It's pretty clean. There's no dust or dirt or anything like that. It's because it's been raining almost non-stop for the last 4 days, and tropical rainfalls are significantly heavier than what we experience typically back home, or in the United States anyways, unless we're getting like downpours from a thunderstorm or something like that. That being said, a lot of water has fallen and washed all of this dirt right into the fish sump. So I've got all this extra filtration. I'm trying to clean the water up, but I don't even know if that's going to do it. I may have to do significant water changes. I'll walk over here. You can see just how bad this water is. It is absolutely terrible because of all the suspended dirt that's in that water now. It's bad. So I'll keep thinking about it and try to figure out what I'm going to do. The fish aren't in here yet, only the test fish, and the test fish are catfish. This stuff, they prefer this seemingly over clean water. Like, that's just how catfish are. So the test fish are in no danger, but I'm not too sure that the bear of money are going to appreciate this. Now, if the roof was finished like it should have already been, they did get a lot done, as you can see. They got a lot done, but they can't work in the rain because they're welding and everything else. So if it's wet, they're not coming out here to work, understandably. So if the roof had been done, then none of these issues would have happened, because the rain wouldn't have fallen onto the concrete and ultimately washed everything into the sump. So yeah, I mean, it was so bad I got my truck stuck trying to come out here one day, so it's still stuck in the mud hole, and I'll have to wait till it dries up to get it out. But none of this stuff is, you know, earth-shattering. We can fix it. It'll be fine. It just sucks because it further delays progress, and I'm that much further away from growing. And these tomatoes over here, like, they're ready to go. They've had enough of these cups. They're ready to go into a bucket. So my priority will definitely be getting those buckets finished so I can get these tomatoes going as quick as possible, because they're just not happy. But we got lots of root growth right out of the bottom of the cup. I'll try to show you here. So that's just what's coming out of the bottom holes. But yeah, we'll work through it, guys. Just understand that you're always going to have complications, or, I mean, it's kind of Murphy's Law, and you've just got to do what you can to work around it. Like I said, I've got all this Walmart filtration set up, and I've got this canister filter, and then I've got a bunch of extra filtration going on in here, and I've got these set up with some padding in them, real slow water drain rates. And we'll see if it clears up over the next couple days. The good news is the system is cycling. Yesterday I picked up my first nitrites, and today
as well. Today they were at 0.3 milligrams per liter. So that's the good news. We should see nitrates within a week, I would imagine, and we'll be well on our way to a full system cycle. And then I have to try to figure out how to not kill everything, all the bacteria, with a massive water change if we end up taking that route. But we'll sort it, guys. We'll sort it. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Yeah, this is the shit I'm talking about right here.
Alright, real quick before we get started, I need to make a couple of caveats. That is, I am not an aquaculturist. I have no background in aquaculture. I'm not a horticulturist. I'm not any of those things. I'm not a chemist, an engineer, or anything else. So if you are going to spend a voluminous amount of your money or anyone else's money on a hydroponic, aquaponic project, you need to do your own research, and you need to probably seek out, if you feel like you need to seek out professional advice. You're not going to get that here because I'm not a professional at anything. The reason why I'm making such a bold point about this is because I don't want you to experience shortcomings based on something that I did, and maybe it won't work particularly well for you or me. I'm confident that my project's going to be just fine, but that doesn't mean I would want you to attempt to translate what I've done into an investment of your own, because that would make me feel very badly if you were to lose money. I'm fully prepared to lose every dollar that I've put into this thing, and I can stomach that, and I'll be okay with that. Do I think that's going to happen? No, probably not. And that gets into some marketing feelers that I've put out and some research that I've done locally, which I'll cover that in a completely different video. But their prospects look quite good, simply because the product availability for what people are trying to get, specifically the restaurant market, and what's available to them here is not that good. So they're really looking for a better option. So, okay. The second thing is the aquaponics community, specifically the aquaponics community as of late, for whatever, has turned into this ginormous big dick contest. I don't get it. Either you've got guys that are asking questions, looking for answers, which is great. That's where we all start. And on some things, that's still where I'm at. I'm still asking questions every day. Or you've got guys that feel they have valuable information that want to sell it. I'm also perfectly okay with that. I think that's valuable to the community. There's a place for that. And then there's guys who get on specifically the forum environment, and they're the Poseidon of aquaponics, and they are, gods among men, water walkers. That's great. That's fine. But you won't sell the information, and you refuse to share the information with anyone. Personally, I don't see how anyone could hold any value on someone like that. It just doesn't make any sense, because you're telling me that you've got groundbreaking information or a groundbreaking comprehension of what we're all trying to do here, but you refuse to sell the information, and you refuse to educate anyone because you're just simply above everything. And maybe I'm getting a little bit dramatic here, but I just feel like that's not what a sense of community is about. Aquaponics, in a global perspective, is still a relatively new theme. It's a very small culture of mostly backyarders, and there's some more and more larger projects popping up. And in the big picture, it's a small community. And the community has grown through those of us that are sharing information and sharing ideas. And that way we have many minds working towards one objective, and that is the most efficient way to grow vegetables using fish waste in whatever format that may be, as efficiently as possible. In many cases, that's from a hobby perspective, and that's basically where I'm at. It's, that's what I want to do. So, that's about all I have to say. Don't do what I did just to do it because you think it was a good idea. Make sure you do your own due diligence and cover your bases before you go blowing a bunch of money on something like this, a project like mine. Nobody is ever going to walk in here and say, Oh, Ryan's project was awesome, and it maximized efficiency based on cost and output versus input. No one's ever going to say that because it's not true. It's not true. I don't have the levels of education necessary to calculate all of those particulars that are important, especially if you've got investors and things like that. My system was built on a hobby farm schematic where I just sort of took what I wanted, took what I liked from other ideas, a few of my own, put it all together, and I didn't really worry that much about what it was going to cost me. I had a ballpark idea, but the cost that I'm going to get into here shortly, a lot of those aren't even, like I didn't know what they were going to cost me before I started doing them. So I found out as I was doing that, and as all of you know, that's not the best way to do business. But we'll go ahead and jump right in. A lot of my costs involved were infrastructure. I didn't have existing electricity. I needed to raise the soil. I needed to fill soil on the plot of land that I built on. And those were two major costs that many of you may not experience. But the filling of the soil was $6,000 US. We're talking truckloads and truckloads of soil to raise the land to a level where it was no longer a threat of being flooded, because floods here in the tropics are a big issue. Electricity, that was another $3,000 total dollars. That includes running the main electric line from the road to the plot, and then all of the interior electrical work as well. So that was $3,000. The fish house, in materials and labor, cost right around $5,000. So that includes the steel, all the welding labor, putting the thing together, the concrete footings, the poles, and the shingles, the tiling, was $5,000. Greenhouse is going to cost about $8,000. I say greenhouse, but it's actually more of a growing roof. This is only the roof, of course, $8,000. That includes the footings, the steel, again, all the structural support, and then $3,000 of that $8,000 was polycarbonate paneling. That stuff is expensive. I needed a lot of it. But the product that I purchased allegedly has a 10-year lifespan on it. So I'm hoping that it'll actually last 10 years. That'd be phenomenal. A 10-year no crack span. Alright, so towers. The grow towers, I purchased 50 of them. It cost me right around $6,000. So that's a pretty good chunk into a growing medium. And again, a lot of people are asking me, where can I get the towers? How much do they cost? You need to go to Aquaponics Thailand. Aquaponics Thailand, they've got a new Shopify online store. You can check all that stuff out. I'll put the link in the description. I'll put the link on the video. But make sure you go and check that out. The store is brand new, so they still have a lot of products that are not yet in the store. That's where I got all of my plastics. All of my fish tanks, my filters and stuff, all came from Aquaponics Thailand. So go check them out. They are the only one that I'm aware of within the country vendoring aquaponics supplies. Fish tanks and filters. Okay, that was another $3,000. So $3,000 for the 6 3,500 liter fish tanks and the 4 conical based solids filtration filters. Okay, back to the concrete. The concrete was over $10,000. That included about 450 square meters of concrete. All the concrete underneath the fish tanks is 25 centimeters deep. And inside of that concrete is double steel rebar. So heavy fortification to support the weight of those tanks and make sure that I was mitigating any settling issues or anything like that. That price that I said also, the $10,000 also included all of the ground prep work, the labor, the material costs, all of it was done for over $10,000, just over. That included the heavy machinery to dig the holes and put all the sump tanks under the ground, the finishing work around all of the sump tanks. Yes, it's an all-inclusive price. It seems high. It is high. But there was extra money that I put into it all of this stuff is built to last, guys. I didn't take any shortcuts on infrastructure because I just don't want to deal with problems down the road. I spent more money up front for quality, for the reputation of the contractors and builders that I was using, especially for the concrete. I mean, those guys came in there and did all that stuff in less than a week. Less than a week. That kind of performance here in this country is very rare. Very rare. Those guys had their own machinery, their own crew. I remember I went out there one day and they had almost 15 guys, you know, framing, laying steel, prepping all the ground for the concrete. So, yeah, there's a little bit of justification going on because inevitably someone's going to sharpshoot my prices and say, oh, well, I could have had that done for a fraction of that price, or I could have had that done for much less, based on the standard building cost of whatever here in this country. That's fine. You know, this is what I opted to go with, and this is how it was done, and I have no regrets. So I don't have any issues with the work that was done, or any fear that any of that work is going to fail quality-wise in the future. Okay, so hydroponic nutrients. I invested probably about $700 in hydroponic nutrients. My hydroponic nutrients will all be mixed from scratch. So there's no source for a pre-mixed solution. So what I did is some research, and with some help with some hydro guys, I put together a recipe which enables me to order every single micro and macro nutrient that is readily available in water-soluble form, and I will from scratch make my nutrients. Now, that $700 is about a year's worth supply. Well, excuse me. Some of the stuff that's really expensive, like the micronutrients, will last 3 or 5 years. It's that much of it, and you use so little of it. Some of the macronutrients, which are less expensive, I'll probably have to replace in 3 to 4 months. We're talking 25 kilogram bags, about 50 pound bags of nutrients. But those are cheap as chips. It's nothing to worry about. So the initial investment for homemade solutions is more expensive, but in the long run, as time goes by, I'll try to do more math and give you an idea of what I'm paying per kilo or per pound of total nutrients. But because I'm all doing everything from powder to liquid, I'll probably give you more of an idea on volume in terms of concentrated mix at a dilution rate of 1 to 100 or 1 to 200 of what it's actually costing me. I haven't got that far yet, so we'll explore more of that later. The fish are going to cost me about $600. That includes the cost of the fish and the transportation logistics of getting them here. $600 for what'll end up being around almost 1,300 fish. It's 1,280 fish. We added some in case of fatalities from transportation and introduction to a new system. I'm getting my fish from AsiaTropicZone. AsiaTropicZone will provide fish in country, and they are major exporters of barramundi, Asian sea bass, they are commonly called. So I'm very pleased to have been put in touch with, and thank you to Aquaponics Asia for making that connection with AsiaTropicZone and introducing me to them so they were able to sell me fish. They have passed many stringent exportation, quality control formalities in terms of import and export to other countries, and they fund, you know, multi-million-dollar aquaculture projects with these very well-raised barramundi fingerlings. And in addition, they also grew them out to 3 inches for me, which is a big deal because at that size the barramundi are no longer interested in eating each other. So we mitigate a lot of the fatalities from cannibalism. I had to buy a truck. Okay, so like some of this stuff will not apply to you guys, but I didn't have a truck. I had no need for a truck, but I had to buy a pickup truck to carry shit around, go get PVC, bring it back to the land, and all that good stuff. So I bought a cheap old beat up truck. You guys have seen it in the videos, and vehicles here are more expensive than they are in, for example, the United States. I can go out and buy an old beat up pickup truck for a few $1,000s. Here, the only old beat up pickup truck, I couldn't find anything less, unless it was just devastating, or devastated. The only thing I could find was like right around between $5,000 and $10,000. So yeah, I got an old diesel. It'll probably run, till I'm dead. It had low kilometers on it, and it starts every morning, and it runs while it's driving down the road. So I'm happy with it. But that was, to me, part of my project because it came to a point where I required to have a method of transporting goods to and fro. So that was $5,000. Okay, fish food is another cost. It'll cost about $1,000 to grow 1,000 fish to maturity. And maturity here for barramundi is considered to be around 900 grams. 900 grams is a plate-sized fish for Thais. They don't want anything less because the way Thais eat is they all eat in a communal manner where if you order a fish, it's not served in a fillet to one person on one dish, as with all of their dishes. It's served to the table, and then everybody just kind of picks at it. So their fish are actually prepared as an entire fish. If I can start marketing and selling these fish to restaurants in a fillet format, they may not require a 900 gram fish. I might be able to get away with a 700 gram fish for fillet purposes. That covers the majority of the bulk costs. There's a lot of miscellaneous stuff, guys, that I haven't kept track of. Things like, all the PVC fittings, water pumps, filter padding, brushes. Oh, I didn't include the hydroton either. The hydroton was another significant expense, and I don't recall off bat what it was, so I'm not going to say, but you guys can source that stuff yourselves. I'm just giving you a baseline of what I spent because I told you I would, and a lot of folks seem interested in doing that. I can honestly say that all in, I'm very, very, very close to $60,000. Very, very close to $60,000. But I haven't kept track of every single expense or money out. So, like sponges and net pot are another miscellaneous, and because I bought in bulk, I paid, I think, almost maybe right around $500 or $600. But I've got enough of those things to last me well over a year, based on a 300 cup per week rotation. So I spent a lot of money up front, but some of this stuff is not going to be reoccurring monthly costs, and that in the end is what really matters to me, because when I'm looking at moving produce in forms of selling produce and income generated from fish or produce, what I've spent on the infrastructure itself becomes irrelevant, because that money is gone, and there's no mortgage, there's no loan payment on it. So I didn't borrow money to do it, so I don't have a loan to pay. So my overhead is literally that. It's my overhead. It's my reoccurring monthly expenses in terms of water, electricity, fish food, nutrient supplementation, hydroponic nutrients for the tomatoes, things like that. So just understand there is a lot of miscellaneous stuff which I haven't recorded, but I can tell you that it's very close to $60,000 so far. Thanks for watching, and please do subscribe, and if you enjoy the videos, like the videos. If you don't like the videos, dislike the videos, so I know what not to do anymore. Can't promise I won't do it. That's kind of the idea here. I'll just close with this. Brock Hughes is always big in his videos about be good to each other, and I'm not trying to steal his thunder, but the point being is that we need to develop a community. We need to support each other. And if there are assholes or idiots within that community, we should eradicate them. Of course, you're always going to have some of that. A lot of it's personality. But it's almost like a sense of jealousy, where those that have been negative and those that have been downright nasty about my project and pointing out all the downfalls and the issues, it's hard not to take that personal, because this to me is very personal. I'm sharing every aspect of my life as it, in terms of growing things aquaponically, hydroponically with you, which I enjoy doing, and I really appreciate all of the support that I've gotten. But when someone wants to be a naysayer and be negative about the situation, it's difficult to swallow that. And then you look further into the actions, And you'll never win the war against trolls, and it certainly isn't what this is about. I would just encourage you to be the best that you can be for yourself and to contribute as much as you can. And again, this isn't one of those rants about, oh my God, people are charging money for information. No. If you've got information and it's organized and you can present it to someone else in an organized manner, you should be charging for that information if it's accurate. You'll never hear me complain about that. I've paid for information. I have paid for consultation. And I would do it again. And I would continue to do it if there were questions that I wanted answered by someone else who was successful within the realm of aquaponics, hydroponics, both of those. So just something to think about. That's just something to think about. Yep. All right. Cool.